In this week's lesson, we'll be doing a value exercise using 5 different values to paint this forest scene. The colors we'll be using for this project are titanium white, viridian green, cobalt blue, Prussian blue, and lamp black. I'll start by mixing the first value using the titanium white, a little bit of cobalt blue, and I'll mix those together. Then I'll add the viridian green, and just a little bit of black to gray it down. I'm adding a little bit more titanium white just to lighten it up. Alright, let's apply the first value. I'm using a lot of water and I'm wetting the entire surface of the watercolor paper. Because I'm using a lot of water, I tape down the edges so that the paper wouldn't curl. The idea of the first value is just to create a background texture. I'm darkening the corners just a little bit more, and again I'm using a lot of water to blend it all together. Once you're happy with the background texture, wait for this step to dry before moving on to the next. Now I'll mix the second value. I'll add a little bit of Prussian blue and just a little bit of black to darken the value. Alright, let's apply the second value, and we'll do this by painting the background trees. Make sure that this value is done in a wash. Mix this paint with plenty of water so that it goes on translucent. Be creative with the placement and the shape of your trees. They don't have to match mine. Paint in different branches and some leaves at the top. Again, using a wash. Once you're happy with this layer, make sure it completely dries before you move on to the next step. Alright, now we're going to mix up the third value. We'll take the last color and we'll add a little bit of black and some Prussian blue. I'll also add a little bit of that viridian green. Just want to make sure this value is darker than the other one. Now I'll use this third value and I'll paint in the mid-ground trees. Again, it's not important that you copy my trees. Just be creative in its placement and their shape. Find the negative spaces to paint your trees. Add some interesting branches and some leaves at the top. You can also add some grasses and some weeds at the bottom, just for visual interest. Alright, now we'll mix the fourth value. We'll do this by darkening the last one. We'll use all the same colors that we used before, some black, some Prussian blue, some Viridian green, maybe a little bit of white. We'll apply the fourth value. You'll notice as we go to the foreground, the trees are getting larger. It's alright to overlap some of the trees from the background and the midground, but you don't want to completely cover them up. Allow for those negative spaces so you can see the distant trees. Paint in some grasses and some weeds into the foreground, and also paint in some leaves at the top. Now we'll mix up our last fifth value, which will be straight black. I'm using that black and I'm painting a profile at the bottom with some grasses and some weeds. I'm also using that black and I'm painting in more leaves at the top. Now I'll just remove the tape, and it leaves a nice white border around the painting. As an optional step, you can use a white colored pencil or a Conte pencil. Color over the background trees and the midground trees, and this will push them back even further, giving the illusion of depth. As a final step, you can use a black Sharpie. This will add more details to the foreground, add some branches, some more leaves, and some weeds and grasses. And that's it, you're done. This entire painting was done with just 5 values.